Hey everybody, welcome back to the 30 Minutes of Fame podcast. Oh, over here.
No.
Episode 100, baby. Here we are. Today I'm joined by Chad Kennedy from C to C for PTSD, who was my very first guest. And holy crap, do we ever look a lot better today?
Yes, we do, dude. You're rocking it. This looks
We were,
professional.
we got to learn as you go. And I know you've
Yes,
started doing your own podcasts and lives and stuff. And every episode, I learned something new from every guest. But welcome back, man. Episode 100. Here we go.
this is amazing, and it was like just over a year ago. Episode one is before I left for the walk last summer, so this is quite fitting because I take off next Thursday and head east for a few months and walk my way back to Alberta. So this is an honor. Thank you.
Beautiful. And this time, without a doubt, when you get close to Alberta, we're meeting up and we're gonna walk at least 5 kilometers together.
Awesome,
We got to
awesome,
make
and
that happen.
y-
But for
you know
those of you
the
who don't know, who didn't see episode one, I'm gonna put the links in the description. You can go watch it and laugh at how ridiculous we looking. But it was good, man. It started I can't believe I've had 99 other guests on here, but so Chad, after his own battle with PTSD, he decided not enough people are talking about mental health and sick of losing friends and just seeing like myself, I'm not a veteran, but I have a lot of close military friends and some of them have just disappeared and then I found out why and man, it cuts and that's why I do these episodes and keep sharing my story and sharing other stories because if one person's watching this, man, and they reach out, that's what it's all about.
exactly that. Exactly.
So Chad has walked a good part of Canada twice, is about to do it 3 times. I gotta ask, man, I've always wondered this, and now I get a chance to ask you. Do you have a step counter? What's that number at right now?
I have, you know what? So this is the second half of the second walk across Canada. It
Yeah,
just seems like I vanished for 6 months at a time, but it's so this will be when I finish this year, it'll be the second time across the country, and I've been told unless I want a divorce before we get married, I'm not doing this again. Um, but I do I wear my Suunto watch. GPS tracks everything I do and counts my steps. I don't the counting of the steps is for me. I've got my minimum goal every day. It's and the reason why I don't share the steps all the time, because somebody who I want to encourage people to go out for a walk in nature. And going for a walk in nature to me, like I just have to go out my backyard and I'm in the Rocky Mountains. But I want somebody to experience whether it's 10 minutes outside or it's 20 minutes outside. It's not a competition. Like the steps are for me. So I encourage anybody, if you want to come for a walk with us, and what we started doing last summer, which was so amazing. Um, Anytime anybody wanted to walk with us, or myself, it became their portion of the walk. So we had Butch in the safety truck following us. I would be there for moral support. And you know what? At the end of the day, if they walk 2 kilometers, that's our day. Let's go have a coffee. Let's talk about mental health. And the, it's really hard to explain. You want to empower people to be a part of their own healing journey. Everybody I meet is a part of my healing journey. I learned so many amazing people or things from people, and a reminder, that hashtag never alone, is I'm not alone in my journey with PTSD and my healing. But yeah, so the steps this year when we hit Victoria, I should have the grand total of kilometers walked and how many steps. I can't count calories because everybody across the country feeds me so well and Butch so well and whoever's with us. So it's like, oh, that was a good meal. And I should be burning off those calories the next day. Oh man. Like I'm over 50, so my beer gut takes a little longer to vanish, versus when I was 30. I could just hit the gym for a couple weeks and shave that. So, you know what? I've earned the beer belly. But dude, it's just an amazing experience to just be able to visit the country like this and have amazing conversations. And that's really what it's all about.
You know what's incredible, man? I'm looking at that bulletin board behind you, and I've just got to think if do you ever just stop and look at that? Like I'm just looking at all the different police patches back there, some
Oh,
first responder patches.
oh man, and it goes up like it's like there
Oh
we go.
yeah.
And I've got man, I mean, my career in law enforcement, obviously you're swapping patches all the time. Um, I've got two more boxes full of patches from people right across the country. So I need to get more cork boards so I can mount all these. But a lot of these, there's a lot of stories behind everything. Some are collected, but when you sit down with members of anybody in the public safety professions, it's not just a patch. There's a story behind it, somebody's story, and it, yeah, and it's more of a respect thing versus here's a souvenir.
Hmm.
So I take it as like you would a thank you card, but it's cool because I collect that. And like, man, I never collected challenge coins.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Throughout my
That's
career,
awesome.
you get one here and there, yeah, whatever. Now it's like I've got two full cases, another two cases full of stuff. So but it's you feel the love behind a presentation of a coin or a patch versus just here's a handshake and a hug. These are memories. So yeah, it's cool.
That's beautiful, man. You know, in my living room, I have up. I've got a U.S. flag in one of those triangle cases, and when people come, when I had the odd chance I get a visitor, sometimes they're like, "Dude, why the hell do you have a U.S. flag over in that corner?" And then I got to share them the story of in 2010, a U.S. Army veteran who had met some Canadian guys that shared the coffee certificates we used to share over, and they got all the American guys and the British guys hooked on Tim Hortons. So
How Canadian, eh?
flew this flag for a day in Taiji, Iraq for me, and I'm like, well, holy shit. And like with a little plaque saying this flag was flown for a day. I don't leave the certificate out because then when people come and they're like, why the hell do you have a US flag, man? You're Canadian, like especially with all this bullshit going on now. But then I get to
Yeah.
tell them why. And it's like you with all these patches, right? Like I have one coin that I saved that Kevin McCarg from a program called Hero to Hero, there where they used to collect firefighter shirts and send them over to just the guys in Iraq and Afghanistan, just saying, "Hey, we're giving you the shirt off our back." And
Yeah.
just a little piece from home. So they
Love
sent me
it.
a 9/11 challenge coin that was like one of 100 made or something. And man, I still got that just over to the right of my desk. I keep it there. Little things like that. So it's pretty similar how, but
It's yeah, it's other people share their stories with us, and how else do we honor them? It's like I'm going to display
yeah,
what you gave me out of honor of you. So yeah, it's cool. The cool stuff.
it's beautiful, man. And back to your walk here. I know like the first time you did it and you were just alone with your thoughts. But then when people join you and they just start sharing shit they probably never told anyone, like I'm sure you could write a book, but I'm sure you wouldn't with those stories because they're so personal. But I did see
That's
something on your page there about working on a book. So what's that all about?
oh man, this is something I started after the first year of walking, and I thought when I got back this year. That maybe it was ready. And I talked to a friend of mine who does publishing, Kimberly Tent, retired RCMP due to PTSD, and she's like, I don't think you're done. There's so much to your story. Talk
Mm,
about what your relationship was like with your dad. What was it like with your dad when your dad started his journey with complex PTSD? What was your relationship like when you were diagnosed with PTSD? So there's a whole bunch of add-ons, and I really I'd love to mention every name that I met in my book, and
hmm.
but there's so much to it, and Obviously, when you write a book, I want it to be reader friendly. Yes, I'll talk about my story, but to share other people's stories, those are their stories to share. And so a lot of times when I'm doing something on the road or here at home, well, yeah, there's been a few people I've interviewed. Um, it's because I believe their story is important and should be shared with the world, to help encourage somebody else. People that follow me, Dave, like I've talked my story, I don't know, 1,000 times across the country. I continue to share my story at speaking events. Um, but not everybody's there yet. People are, and we don't share, we're not sharing traumas when we walk. It's like, here's who I work with, and this is what sort of set me off the edge without going into detail.
Hmm.
So yeah, for me to add, I would probably have to write the longest book in the world. And that's going to take me 20 years. So when I'm done this year's walk, I'll probably go someplace very quiet in my camper and continue writing and hopefully get something published in the next year and a half.
Now, here's an idea that just popped in my head. So
Okay.
once this book is done and published,
Yep.
okay, do an audio version of it
Okay.
and say, hey, take this book on a walk with you and let me know how many walks you have to do to finish this book.
Oh, I love it. We should collaborate on this project.
See, I have my Newfie accent I can turn off, but I've been working on it. I did have one dude after I think after my third episode, I get this nasty email. He's like, I'd rather listen to a dental office noise than listen to your stupid Newfie accent. So,
Whoa!
so then what did I do? My next guest, I had someone on from Newfoundland, and and the two of us were no one could understand a damn we were saying, but I didn't care.
No,
Like,
you shouldn't. That, dude, that's your roots.
yeah,
And when I speak freely, like this summer when we come through your neck of the woods, uh, spoiler alert, we'll be having a an event in the Cochrane area, with our friends with Wayfinders and whoever else is coming out. But it sounds like it's going to be a good time. So we'll be able to walk, and then you can hang out with Butch the Noof, and he's right from St. John's from the Battery.
no, okay.
He's a Bayman from the Battery by. That's I had no idea what that meant, but I've got to razz him and I got to give him a fair plug here. If he watches this, he'll be cursing me. But yeah, hey, you know what? I lived in Fort McMurray for 20 years. I can relate to the accent, and when I go over to Newfoundland, I have an accent, according to them. So it's life is good.
Well, you know what's funny? It depends on what part of the province in. People get harder to understand, and people drop their H's on any vowels. And I
Yes.
always said there's in Bay Roberts, Newfoundland, A&W stands for hamburgers and whoopia. I love my
Oh
people
boy.
in Bay Roberts. I spent some time there, but that's one of my oldest jokes I came up with. And then I don't know if I wrote it or not. I could have been drunk, who knows? But
Who knows? Who knows?
anyways. Um, so yeah, what's it like now? Now that you've done this walk and a half to look back on that moment that we talked about on our first episode back in August 2020, August 2nd.
August 2nd,
Um,
yeah, August 2nd, 2020. For those who don't know, that was my suicide date. Um, and I was extremely intoxicated. And what saved me is the vision of my dad and my mom. Uh, as most of us know, when you hit that dark place and suicide is calling your name, you're not worried about other people. You're worried about or concerned about ending the pain that we're going through. And as we all know, suicide leaves a hell of a ripple effect. Um, and I didn't want to let my dad down. Um, I worked so hard at having my dad happy. with me. And so I didn't want to let him down. That's what saved my life. Last year on the walk, I started talking more about that. There's certain things, when are you ready to really be fully transparent and go through everything that you've been through? It's like, yeah, maybe that sounds cheesy, but that's what saved me. My purpose is dad never gave up when he was going through the worst of his demons with complex PTS, and here I am, pretty sure it's complex as well because the amount of traumas I've been through. But where I stand now, um, uh, I got to say the last week and a half has been really tough on me. Dad passed last Monday. So my mentor and my the C2C for PTSD cheerleader, like my cheering section, the one that encouraged me passed. And it's sort of like I want to quit. Why am I doing this anymore? What's my purpose, and my purpose, and I go right back to when I first started walking officially in 2021, or sorry, 2022, is my purpose is to help others. And that's why I joined the armed forces at a young and foolish age. That's why I went into being a law enforcement officer, was to help people who could not help themselves. I wanted to be a part of the solution. So as we walk. I would love to say, dude, that I walk when we're on the road. I walk 35, 40 kilometers every single day. Reality is, I don't, because last year we focused more on um, starting conversations and awareness and having all of these events go on with meet and greets versus I'm pounding the pavement every day. And you know what? It might be an hour away driving, but we'll see you in 2 weeks. And I won't do that. Everybody's got a schedule. Um, but the purpose is about talking openly about the challenges I've faced personally in the hopes of inspiring somebody to come forward and ask for help, right? Which is really hard. And I when you see messages and emails that I receive from people, doesn't matter what social media platform they're watching on or what site they're on, and they're not following me, but it's like, well, here's this guy, Chad, who is always posting things about PTSD. And there's a doctor I follow. His posts are always amazing, and he just there's no guff in there. He just says it how it is, what PTSD is like, and he goes into childhood trauma and everything else as well. But when he does one of his write-ups, and I'm like, this is exactly how I'm feeling right now. I share that. I shoot it right across Facebook, and then an absolute stranger will say, you know what, Chad, I've been dealing with PTSD for 20 years. How do I get help? It's like, okay, who are you with? And where can we start with resources? If you're with the RCMP or if you're a veteran, we've got Veterans Affairs. If you're in the civilian world or a public service employee in whatever province that's not covered by VAC, we will help find you resources. And the amount of connections we've met right across the country is now where, and I always joke about this with a lot of people. If you know what a Rolodex is, the younger generation is that like a tablet or a
Yeah.
computer? No, no, dude. You scroll through paper and you find numbers, but C2C has become more of a Rolodex of resources. And we want to say that we vet everybody. Um, that's just it's hard to do. But the people that have built trust with the campaign, um, I'll shoot out resources like here, check with them. If I don't have an answer, then we check with Diana with Legacy Place or Moo. He's gonna punch me out. Mo with boots on the ground. Like I've got somebody who's looking for help. Can I send their phone number? And I wish I had numbers to how many people we've been able to help. I just don't. I shoot resources or connect them via messenger or email, and then I just step away from the conversation. That's I've done what I can do. And some people have updated me and thanked me, and they're in a better place. And some people you just never hear from again, and that's okay. Not my business.
You know
So,
what's
purpose is helping people.
oh, you know what? And it's funny because I've had a lot of mental health guests on here, had a lot of musicians. I've had some crazy, just entertaining people. And like the Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonator, the guy that he talked the whole episode and sang a few songs in Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. People reached out to me after that and they're like, "Hey, you know what? I was having a really shitty day, and that just made me laugh so hard I forgot what I was upset about." So for me, having that dude on and then having someone like you on, it's all the same. That's why I don't really put a label on my show because I've had a lot of musicians on. Some are amazing and played in front of some pretty big crowds. And I said to them, like, for you and I, when someone reaches out and say, "Hey, what you did impacted me," or "This episode really impacted me," or "You walking impacted me," to me, that's the same as these musicians I've talked to that when they have a crowd sing along one of their songs for the first time,
Oh
and
yeah.
they're like, "Holy shit, I made it. This could be
What
my moment." For you and
you get
me,
those
that's our
butterflies.
that's our I
Oh
made it.
yes. Yep. And if, I've never set a goal of, I'm going to save the world. I'm going to stop suicides and badness forever. That's impossible. If when I started this journey, and once we started C2C for PTSD, I had the notion in my head, if I could save just one soul from going down that dark path of suicide, I've fulfilled everything. I have saved not just one human, but the 100 people around that human being as friends and family, and right, that ripple effect. What if that person died? It impacts a whole lot of people. It hurts my feelings. I've lost friends to suicide. And it sucks. It sucks. Um, and then to meet their families. Um, Thankfully, I'm very blessed. I feel the families that I've gotten really close with, um, the survivors of suicide. So if we look at if you Google Robbie's story out of Regina, that's a big thing. His sister Candace, we've become very good friends. Um, they they have the Robbie's Foundation, and they promote mental health. Operation Talk to Me Johnny, right? The Little family, losing Johnny Little, and that's what they're about. Mama Sebi, her son was Abdul, who's an RCMP member here in Alberta, who died by suicide. And what she is doing is, keeping his name alive by sharing his story. And to be a part of somebody's journey like that is such an honor and a privilege. Um, it's like they've lost everything, but yet they give everything back to veterans and first responders to help prevent another suicide from happening. So to be a part of that, um, team positive, team human being thing is, yeah, makes me want to cry. Happy tears, because you're honored to be a part of such an amazing thing. People are amazing, and I know mainstream media doesn't promote that a whole lot.
No,
But when you walk the country for a cause, and you start conversations, and you see the good of humanity, and it's pretty incredible.
you know what I love, man. I'm not tooting my own horn here, but anyone that comes on my show, I feel like I check in on them, especially people that have had on like mental health or anything like I went through, or like a former addict. I check in on them every couple weeks to say how you're doing. And me and my girlfriend have been talking to this dude I had on. I'm not gonna say his name, but his episode is there. He's a recovering addict. And then around Christmas, he just kind of disappeared. He stopped posting his daily updates. We didn't hear from him for a few weeks, and we both sent him messages just to check in. And he did go back out on the streets for 2 or 3 weeks and kind of went back to that life, but then he reset it. He started over.
Yep.
But he said to me, he's like, "Wow, like." here are you two strangers that reached out and actually give a shit was incredible. And I'm like, you know what, man? Anyone that comes on the show with me, it's like a little family. And it sounds so lame and cliche, but I've been on other shows and I've never heard from them again. It's, it's something different
Yeah.
and it makes me
Yep.
proud.
I hear you there. I do. There are a couple of y'all that have had me on the shows that check in, and I appreciate that. I do. I get, we should be doing buddy checks all the time, and I fail miserably at it because I'm so overwhelmed with everything, and it's like I should have done buddy checks, and I'm not making like there's just no excuse. I don't believe in excuses. If I had a reason, reason is I'm overwhelmed, and
Yeah.
maybe I can learn how to just okay, I'm going to send a buddy check to all 648 of my friends on social media, and and then what? Then my phone's going to be going off, and it's just oh my God, it's overwhelming. So, I will get there. I'm always going to be a work in progress. I'm not perfect. Um, Far from it. About 8 inches too short to be perfect, and about six ab muscles too short of being perfect. But that's okay. I've always got something to strive towards. I never want to be 100%,
Now,
or I've got no goals.
8 inches too short to be perfect. Would it be wrong if I threw in a that's what she said right there? Because
Well, of course, somebody's brain had to go there. And if you were saying that, yes, but yes, I would have picked up on it right away. I don't know what flies out of my mouth half the time. Oh God.
this episode compared to our first one, man, I can even I try and tune into your lives when I'm at work. I see you pop up there, and I can see a lot more confidence in you too. Just like
Yeah.
from when you're having guests on, you're doing this stuff. I freaking love it, man. And we're gonna have you on again for episode 200 because I don't have any plans on stopping
Woo.
this. The stories keep
Well,
coming, man. I've got like
don't
14 episodes ready to
and
go.
and people are contacting you, which is really amazing. And yet you're doing things for the right reason. I think I know there's a reason why I connect with certain people because there are the people that aren't selfish in what they do. Um, man, I'll be the first to admit, over the last couple of years, there are programs and people that I have literally cut ties with
Hmm.
because you're not doing this for others. Your program might be about others, but you're doing this for you and you're building it. I call it building an empire, and I don't get that. Every time I feel or I hear that somebody is making a buck off addictions or mental health, they all play a part in the same. Um, I don't like it. Unless you're a psychologist or a psychiatrist, you have a doctor, PhD thing. Man, you've gone to school a long time to understand what's going on in my fucking brain. You deserve to get your big bucks an hour. But other people, it's like, oh, let's just create a new program instead of, I call it tweaking the spokes. When you remember when we used to bicycle when we were kids, oh, we had a little spoke wrench. I don't know if they still have that shit, but when you got a warped rim, you use spoke wrench, you straighten it out. Everybody is trying to reinvent the wheel in the mental health world instead of grabbing stuff from other places and collaborating together. Like, how can we come up with the most incredible mental health program? How can we come up with the most brilliant addiction recovery program? How can we, boom, let's not try to reinvent the wheel.
Mm.
Let's tweak the spokes, work together on helping others. And um, when I feel that someone is trying to benefit off the work I'm doing, or if they were trying to benefit off the work you're doing, because a lot of this people don't get. Like this is on my own time and my own dime, unless we're raising money. If we're not raising money, I can tell you the first couple years of the campaign, dude, I invested probably close to $100,000 into C2C for PTSD. I'll never recoup that. I'll never recoup it. And who cares? Really, who cares? It doesn't matter. I'm doing it because I'm passionate about it. We live off of donations. There's some amazing people in this country and corporations that have helped us out. But you know, don't start getting selfish with what I'm doing on my time.
Mm-hmm.
My walk in the country and the team that shows up behind it, like Butch being away from Newfoundland this year for 6 months, like he's leaving the Rock to keep my ass safe on the highway. Our logistics officer, Lisa, um, we've got team members spread out everywhere, and everything's volunteer time, sort of coordinating the walk while I'm on the road. And I think a lot of people sort of, whatever, Chad's just out for a walk again. Fuck, this is my volunteer time, dude. So don't try and piggyback off our event to make a name for yourself. I think it's very hurtful. And I won't go into bashing any programs. I think that the programs who we've dealt with in the past are doing good for a lot of good people. Um, but yeah, when you start treating anybody that does everything volunteer time as one of your projects, or I'm like a puppet on your strings, I cut ties with you. Then I'm like Pinocchio without strings, and I just run around. It's hurtful, and I believe you are doing things for the right reason. You're obviously not a millionaire yet because you haven't given me a $500,000 donation. I know that will come. I know that will come. But there's certain programs. Obviously, when you look at the truck and the clothing we wear, these are the people that have helped us get to where we're at today. And I never ask. I never ask for help. These are the people that have come to us said and asked the question, how can we help? So when you see the truck and the decals on it, these are the people that have helped us. There's some decals that have come off because sponsorships change.
Mm.
Um, like this year, we're really excited to have SIPCERT um, and now I've got a brain fart. It's coming. Anyway, so I'll get back to that. But some of the names, that have helped us out. So, SIPCERT, Canna Connect, Legacy Place, as usual, the Veterans Association on board with us this year. Echelon Wellness has helped us. So we're not just looking at, the what's just happening in Alberta now. We're talking about, or sorry, PSP Net. Yes, SIPCERT has helped us out in the past. PSP Net will be on our truck this year, and we'll be doing a big event in Regina when we are walking west with them. But these are like the leaders in uh, the research world. Dr. Nick Carlton heading up these programs on how can we how can we make things better for our public safety professionals, mental health wise? What are the tools we can develop? So when you look at these big dogs coming out and want to be a part of something, it's like who would have ever thought? I wouldn't have thought in a million years that there would be the big people out there that are paying attention and listening and hearing and versus, oh, we'll just be a part of that because that'll make us look good. But it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make you look good. It's like, what have you done?
Yeah.
And I'm out there talking. I'm sweating my bag off. You might have to bleep that. Somebody will take that as sexist. But sweating my bag off, especially in Ontario, when it's like 50 degrees walking the highway,
Oh.
and I want to be able to promote somebody. It's like, well, if you haven't really done anything, like, what am I promoting you for? Um, so yeah, I hate the business side of things. I really do. I don't hate a lot of things. I hate the business aspect of it. The few people that have tried to have control over the campaign. That's not what the campaign was about. The campaign was about my healing journey. And then I just got foolish with things in 2023 and announced that I'd do a second walk across the country. But it's it builds as you go. We have probably 3,000 more followers than we did a year ago. So it's slowly getting out there, and the people that send messages or stop along the side of the highway just to say hi or get a hug is, you know, that's healing. Doing business and saying I have to do a commercial or promote somebody more is like that's not what it's about. So you work with the agencies that never asked me to do that, and I just do it because it's my pleasure. So there's a lot of I love to give, and giving my time is nothing. Time is free, hugs are free, conversation's free. Walking the country is not free. So I'm just throwing it out there. It does cost money, especially with today's gas and grocery
Oh
prices.
my goodness. Yeah.
I'm just throwing that in there. That was a slide. Yes, we will accept donations of food and fuel.
You know what's funny, man? You mentioned sponsorships and stuff. I've had Well, in the last few months, things are kind of taking off. The numbers are doubling. I've had a couple of companies reach out to me, but they're like, we consider sponsoring your show, but we want this many type of guests. I can't really talk about this. I'm like, forget it. It's not worth
Yeah.
it. My
It,
my
it,
podcast costs me $22 a month for the hosting site, so I don't have to have 30-minute episodes now. We can talk for 2 hours if we wanted to.
eh,
And I'm okay paying that because I like my full control.
yeah, well, that's it. Somebody will always try and take control of something. I don't, I don't, I don't know if it's out of envy or if they think, well, this will just be good for our business or good for our image. And when I'm not afraid to say that over the last few years, we have gone after Canadian corporations for sponsorship. You know what? No, no, because you don't fit within our community dynamics.
Mm,
I'm like, wait a minute. Um, when I watch the NHL, you're spending how many millions of dollars to put your company name on the boards, right? And I'm like, okay, like, fuck, dude, we've only asked for some gas cards or for a wheel rotation or oil change. Nope, you don't fit it within our community standards. And, or, oh, you have to go to each franchise separately. I'm like, well, if I go to each franchise separately, one might say, yes, here's a gift card, but how about putting your name on the truck and wherever we stop, we'll go into, I won't even say names, but we'll go into your establishment and we'll promote that. Thank you. What's that tire company name in Canada? It's pretty big. Oh, same as there's a coffee place that's pretty big. But you look at these places, I'm like, uh, eh, I'm not afraid to say this one because I've talked about it before. Is Bell Let's Talk Day?
ugh,
Exactly. So everybody's still in the PSP world. They're holding these Bell Let's Talk Day. Let's talk mental health. I'm like, that's one day a year, and it's a marketing thing.
yeah, yeah,
And our team, 2 years in a row, contacted Bell Let's Talk Day. 2 years in a row, we get the same Dear John letter. Um,
yeah,
C2C for PTSD does not fit into our community standards for mental health. Like, what in the hell does that even mean?
yeah,
But I look at, okay, your companies support hockey, uh, hockey players and football players and rugby players get concussed. So this year, another thing I'm honored to be a part of is Project Enlist Canada. I had my interview with the team a couple months ago. Amazing people. So I'm an ambassador for brain health, and I donated my brain to their program. I know I sound a little smarter um, than not having a brain than I do with the brain, but so when I pass, my brain will go to science, so they can pick and prod. And man, I played football. You know, I've fired very heavy equipment, and concussions happen from blasts. We know this, we learn. Concussions happen from football, we learn. When I was young, in grade three, skating around the outdoor rinks in Manitoba, I didn't know how to stop. So a lot of times it was head first into the boards, and
yeah,
that's how I stopped. And I'd see stars for a few days. It's all good. But some of the things that you can be a part of, um, and be an ambassador for is pretty amazing. And nobody's got control over that. Um, that's me saying I want to do more. I like learning about the brain. So when they pop my cap off after I go, I'm going to stand in there and I'm going to watch this process and see what happens. But how do I continue helping people after I'm gone?
Mm,
What's my legacy going to be? All I ever want it to be is, Chad was a conversation starter. That's it. And now he's donated his brain. So, when you get involved in cool projects, and something I believe in, it's like, brain health is health. I don't know where I was going with that. Maybe it's a free plug. Anyways,
oh, it was
good
beautiful.
people involved with that program, and it was an honor to, when I asked him, like, I'd really like to get your name on the truck for this year. How can I become an ambassador? And they hired me, Dave. They hired me.
Beautiful.
So yeah, it's we're all on the same mission, and you learn. I learn more and more about addictions when I meet people who you would have never guessed. Where does our brain go to when we talk addictions, right? It's, oh, you must be homeless, you must be this, you must be that, and there's the stereotypical. And it's like I'm meeting lawyers and doctors and um, police, firefighters that have had addictions, and it's like wow, you don't fit my profile. So you learn, um, like education. Now, if you asked me 40 years ago about education, I'd say it's a waste of time. But now everything that goes along with mental health, I want to learn more. We're doing an event in Peterborough. Uh, are we in May yet, or is it still April?
That's May
Oh,
1st
it's May
today. I was,
1st.
yeah, huh.
Oh, it's May 1st. So, and we finally get summer like weather. It's crazy. Um, or spring like weather. So in May, or this month on the 22nd in Peterborough, we're co-hosting an event surrounding, it's called Celebrate Breaking the Silence, with our good friend Dawn, who was one of the first ladies uh, to come forth about military sexual trauma. And it went pretty big. So we're going to be, I'm the only male in the lineup, I think, to be talking at this event. But it is C2C fundraising event. We'll be working with my good friend Aaron Schneider, who's another MSP or MST survivor warrior. Um, I don't know what I'm going to say. Like, I know what I've been through in the military, and borderline sexual trauma. I think nowadays it would be classified as that. But I'm always learning. I want to learn more. I want to learn um, what uh, well, now they call it institutional sexual trauma. And we know a lot of people go through that in any service we sign up for. It's everywhere. It's horrible. And um, how do we end that? I don't think we can. It's like, how do we end suicides? How do we end PTSD? You can't. But when somebody can find the strength of being a voice and speaking up and knowing where to find help, we empower people to do such. So how do I learn about military sexual trauma? Um, I go to these events like this and listen and pay attention. And, I can ask my female friends who are comfortable speaking about it, like what what to say and what not to say, right? Like I don't want to say something that's going to trigger them. What are the comfort words? Like there's certain things when you talk to me that could be a trigger, right? Not saying you personally, but what's a trigger word? What instead of saying this, what should I say? And it makes me a stronger person, more educated, and more able to help somebody when I know where the resources are. So I don't want to sit and read books. I've got, I don't know, like 30 books up there uh, from from amazing people right across the country. who have written books, a lot of big names in the mental health world. I'm like, when do I fucking read a book? It's like I can not it takes me like 10 times to read one page just so I
Yeah.
can understand it. But when I can learn hands-on and listen and retain the important stuff, it's kind of cool. But yeah, school's overrated. Why are we going to school and sitting behind desks and reading textbooks? What is a textbook? See, you know what? I never learned about spam in a textbook. This is a life lesson. Thank you, Dad, for introducing me to spam. First invented in 1938, in case you didn't know. But that's, my forever meat. I don't know if it's really meat, but I was never educated in school about spam. And spam is a real life thing. You know, human interaction is a real life thing. Um, and this thing right here, I'm pretty sure, and I know I'm not alone with this, is children pop out of the room with either a tablet or a cell phone in their hand, and that it takes away from how we were growing up. Is get outside, play in the dirt, ride your bike. When the street lights come on, that's when you get your ass home. Don't be late for supper. Oh, and you are allowed to get your fingernails dirty. You're allowed to eat dirt. Get dirty. Be a kid. But nowadays, like, that shift in human connection, I think, is really it's sad. But I mean, my grandpa would have said that a million years ago. There's such a shift in the world.
You
And
know
in
what,
10
man?
years,
You just triggered something in me that made me really take a look back and just while you were telling that story, I was listening, but you can't stop suicide. You can't stop people battling PTSD, but you can certainly change how others look at people that are struggling.
yep,
I've had musicians, a doctor, a lawyer, a Miss America pageant, a magician, who've also all thought about taking their own lives. And it's not just
yep,
veterans, it's not just, you know, we're all we're all in the same plane, just different sections, just different rows.
that's right.
And if someone can watch any of these episodes and, the Miss America pageant had on, she just won a big title for her whole state in Texas. And that episode was a big wake-up call because she tried to run out into traffic on a highway the night before a pageant. And like you look at them, or like I had a doctor on that looked like he could be an extra on Days of Our Lives. Just this good looking dude that looked like a Days of Our Lives doctor, and he lost everything from addiction.
Yeah.
And so you
The,
never know the shit people are going through.
no, you
And
don't. And so my question is, and I throw this out to the universe, I love asking it. If I had a screenshot of a million people and I just put that out there, okay, who's got PTSD or who is dealing with depression, who's having suicidal tendencies, right? I wouldn't know. They all look like people. Okay, so if I have a million people standing in a picture and one guy's got a cast up, okay, who's got a broken arm? Well, that guy does. So why, I get some people have bad days. I have bad days too. And I talk about those days. People judge me on it. Well, fuck. I'm a human being. Do not set me on don't put me on some pedestal that I'm not on. And I think I've met my career in hospitality, dude. I have met a lot of amazing celebrities, and when I approach them with their first name, I'm like, "Oh, Mr. So and so or Miss So and so, can I please get a fucking autograph?" It's like, hey, like I'm gonna walk up to you, Dave. Fuck, I watch your show, man. It's really amazing. Thank you for doing what you do. People don't do that with what society calls celebrities. They're right in their face.
yeah,
It's like, why? And so when people said, oh, what are you going to do when you hit celebrity status? I don't want celebrity status. I want so far away from it because I don't want people following me around. There's the people in the world already that think I should just be this um, soft spoken, just a big heart friendly guy. Like, well, tell you what, I think a lot of the reason why I've got the injury I have is because I wore my heart on my sleeve. And it wasn't that way for the first few years of my law enforcement career. But gradually it became that way. It's like I know what it's like to get into a car wreck when you don't have family sitting with you in the ditch. So I'm going to go sit with this person, let them cry on my shoulder. We're going to make phone calls together, and we're not freaking robots. And all these, I just say anybody that works in the PSP world, you're not better than anybody. At the end of the day, your scrubs come off, your police uniform, your fire shirt, your paramedic uniform. That shit comes off. And that should be left at the office unless you're doing laundry. But go home as a person and and quit, and I was bad for it at the beginning. Is you're profiling people. That looks like a bad dude. I'm just going to cross the street because I'm with my woman. I need to protect her. And they never understood what was going on in my head. Like, why do we always cross the street every time somebody comes walking towards us? You're like, that's a good question because I feel that is a threat based on appearance. And you forget to turn off that mechanism when you're done work at the end of the day. You know, okay, I'm out of service. I'm going home. I'm going to have a cold beer. I'm going to have a hot tub. I'm going to have a steak supper. No, because now let's go out somewhere. Oh, that guy looks like a threat. And I can only imagine when back in my younger years when I was a drywaller or working up at Syncrude and Suncor as a contractor, what did I look like at the end of the day? So who's profiling me? Well, that guy
Mm.
looks like a shit rat. So now it's like, when you can approach somebody on the street and you see the people that are down and out, and it's not profiling. It's like, hey, bro, like, how can I help you out? I wish I had $1 million so I can walk around to everybody that's lacking a tent or a sleeping bag during the winter months or buy them a coat. There's some guy I watch on TikTok that does that, and it's like that's brilliant. You know, that's good. That's good people. Um, but how can I help? And if it all help is being a genuine human being and striking up a conversation surrounding mental health, I don't want fame with that. Like who cares? What does fame get you? Nothing. A lot of headaches. And so when you talk about um, Miss America, I can't imagine the pressure on that person for a pageant and to be able to answer the questions and do this, do that, entertain. It's like how much like you're rehearsing for a year for this one event. And you've got camera crews following you around because we want to see you out in the public, mixing and mingling with the public. Dude, that's not cool. I mean, it is that you had a Miss America lady on your show, but I can't imagine the pressure.
No.
You know,
And
it,
I
it,
mean the
it
things that she told me about what goes on behind the scenes, like just the girls just trashing each other about how much a certain thing cost, or where'd you get that at the Value Village, and this is it's horrible.
yeah,
Just like that movie Miss Congeniality, only more F-bombs. And
yeah, and it's how do they psychologically play with you to help you fail on stage?
yeah,
Right? So, when I could easily talk about, where I said earlier, the programs we've cut ties with doesn't do me any good to sit here and bash them on social media. It's like you do your thing. And people ask the question, why aren't you associated with them? Well, go ask them because
it's
it's
funny,
not my
man.
place to say.
I'm not going to name them either, but there used to be back in 2010, there was a charity that used to help out military guys, but they had to sign up for this many appearances and shows and like, put this many posts on their social media and stuff. And that was just the biggest crock of bullshit I've ever heard. And I've never said anything because it's not my business, but I'm like, just tread carefully,
Yeah, you have to. And
right?
the mental health world, people on the outside, and I didn't know. Once somebody said that I'm now a mental health advocate, I didn't realize how cutthroat it is. So where the outside people are looking in, saying, "Well, look at all these resources," but people are fighting over funding from the government. People are, I think, some organizations rely on people like myself, for you, that are just out and we take donations, but they're waiting for us to give them donations instead of them doing their own galas or their own fundraising efforts. Like, man, the amount of uh, stuff like Butch out in Newfoundland and all the fundraising he's done, stuff we've done in Alberta, and then when we're on the road, like meet and greets there, we appreciate donations. When people are expecting people like us that A, we need to survive on the road. So before there's any money that goes anywhere, we need to eat and we need to get the truck going. We need to camp in places. And if the weather's that bad, we need to get a motel. And people don't understand that. I believe they assume that we walk the country and we're pulling in $100,000 every time we walk the country. I'm like, fuck that. Like, where does that number come from?
Yeah,
So you give away what you can, and last year was the first year we made profit, and that profit went to Can Praxis. This year, because when you're it's hard when you're raising money for a specific program, and people don't know what the program is, or if they don't agree with that program. Unfortunately, the money's not coming in, and I can fight tooth and nail, right? Okay, at the end of the day, how much money do we have left over? Um, Usually we're in the hole, and that would come out of my pocket. So this year is different because children don't have a choice. Um, and this was a big education thing when I was in law enforcement doing highway patrol. A young child doesn't have a choice when they're in a motor vehicle with mom or dad or bigger brother or bigger sister, and they're driving like assholes without a kid strapped in, right? It's like the kid doesn't have a choice. You have a choice on how you drive and your safety. But now when we dive into the world of suicide and children losing a PSP member as a parent to suicide, what do they have? You know, they have nothing. So now mom or dad is left as a single parent. In today's day and age, they're probably going to work two jobs to make ends meet, depending on what they had for life insurance, if they had insurance, the cost of funeral. Um, the furthest thing from a parent's mind in something like that is, what about my kids' college or university fund? Like, we wanted to do something for them, we wanted to help them. So this year, you know, we started talking about last year. We started up the Hawk Fund, um, so honoring our children. So HOC Hawk um, Fund. So whatever we raise this year, and our goal is, I mean, it's not huge. Want a goal of $13,000. That way, um, we can give out a few $500 scholarships in each province and territory. So at least help with starting in one of those education registered savings plans, you know, and we'll plant $500 or $1,000, depending on what we bring in. Maybe it's 250 a person, but that seed, when they start at a young age, by the time they go to college, university, there's something there for them.
beautiful.
So and that way, and it's sort of, we're taking back control of what the walk was meant to be. It's a healing journey. It's not a um it's not a business. It's We're not here to make somebody look good. We're here to help somebody. So that's, the feel good part of it. And even with the feel good part of it, my fucking legs and back and my feet at the end of every day hurt like hell. Um, but that's part of it. And that reminds me I'm still on this side of the dirt. Pain allows us to know we're alive.
Hmm.
And And we feel good at the end of a good day, especially when we can do a meet and greet engagement and have people asking questions. It's really, it's like a podcast on a road. And whether I get one person attend a meet and greet or you get 500, um, to me it doesn't matter. It's just a conversation.
I love it. Well, thanks for coming on with me again. This is as you oops up this way, everybody. My 100th episode with
That's
my number
awesome,
one
man.
guest who started it all and kept me going here.
Congratulations.
And yeah, go check out all the links down there in the description. If anyone you want me to put a shout out in the description to any of those companies, let me know. I'll fire that in there. But you have the
Yeah,
advantage,
but
and I had to think, 'cause you've gotten my pigeon question already. So to end off this show, we're gonna change it up a bit today with a 100-meter Atlantic cod carrying contest. How many fish that are live could you fit in your arms and carry 100 meters?
Jesus. Atlantic cod, like they are ugly and they're slimy. And hmm, how many live ones? What was there part of the question where any of them were dead?
No, they're right
No.
out of the water, man. They're all just in a big bin right out of the water.
And I've got to carry them in my arms without the bin.
Yep.
Holy shit. I don't know. I would try for six.
Six. Well, it's gonna put you in first place because it's the first time I've asked this question.
Oh, yes. I was thinking, where can I put them? Under my armpits, between my legs, and one in my mouth, and then my hands.
I might ask it again sometime just for the hell of it.
Get it. Another East Coast joke there, Dad. Dad joke, East Coast joke. Yes, bye. I thought it was going to be something simple like, does pineapple belong on pizza? People will fight you for that one.
Oh
I
yeah,
believe, I believe pineapple belongs on pizza.
I love Hawaiian pizza.
Thank you. So
And
I'm not alone in that one either.
here's one more question that was inspired by a previous guest.
Okay.
What's the first article of clothing that you put on when you get out of the shower?
Hmm.
I'm team socks.
Really? I don't, you know what? If I'm wearing underwear, maybe underwear. No, yeah. I put on e either my fluffy pants, my comfy wind down pants, or a pair of shorts.
Beautiful.
And if I'm going out someplace that I have to dress presentable, I will wear underwear. Just so you know, if I could get away with wearing a kilt all the time, I just would.
Well, there we go. What a way to
There's
end the
no
show.
chafe. No chafe. Just
That
saying.
that that the word chafe is going to be in the description somewhere, and then unless everyone,
You
if
learn
people are like, "Oh
tricks.
yeah, I watched that full episode," I'm like, "Well, did you really know? What do you?" That's how I weed out the people that only
Yeah.
watch 10 minutes, right? 'Cause I've never heard the pigeon question. But yeah, everyone out there, go check out all the links in the description. Go give Chad a follow on Facebook. C to C for PTSD. All the links will be in there. And this is awesome, man. Thanks for coming on
Uh,
with me again.
a pleasure. Thank you.
Episode 101 coming up next week with the world of DPB, Grammy nominated Christian rapper slash minister. Another fun show. So everyone out there, just say one nice thing to one person every day for this year. It can change someone's life.